is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are St. Louis.
A wild extra inning affair in Game 3 here at Busch Stadium. The Cardinals had tied it up in the 9th. Stephen Piscotty then in the 10th tied it up again. But it wasn't meant to be. Kansas City with this late base hit off the bat of Alcides Escobar, and they would win it in extra innings by the final of 3-2 in 12. It sets the stage for game number 4. This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. And tonight from Busch Stadium, it's the I-70 series, and it comes to a conclusion tonight. It's the Kansas City Royals and the St. Louis Cardinals. Jim Hayes is here. That's the Matt Hungarian Al Raboski. I'm Dan McLaughlin. The Royals have won 2 of the first 3. Important game for the Cardinals on many levels. Get their pitching right, win this game, even up the series, but also, Al, try to continue the countless months that they've had winning baseball.
You're exactly right. They need to win this to make it 24 consecutive winning months. That is unbelievable for the Redbirds. That's how good they've been playing baseball, but they also need to start winning at home.
Chris Young, 6'10", gets the call tonight for Kansas City. Our lows, home field advantage turns us to the Cardinals starter. That's Mike Leake. Last 2 starts here at home, very good. ERA is under 2. So it's Mike Leake here tonight, Chris Young going for the Kansas City Royals, and it's game number 4 here from Busch Stadium. The I-70 series, always fun, always a packed house. Royals trying to make it 3 of 4. Cardinals trying to even it up at 2-2. First pitch, starting lineups coming up on Fox Sports Midwest. and St. Louis. The Royals at 41 and 36. The Cardinals at 40 and 37. You can vote up until midnight tonight. That's the deadline to vote catcher Yadier Molina into the All-Star game. Hashtag Vote Molina on social media. Head to Cardinals.com. And at last check, Yadier Molina 5,000 votes back of Buster Posey. Molina is not in the lineup tonight, but Brian Pena is, as the Cardinals try to even up this series. He'll catch Mike Leake. Chris Young is on the mound for the Kansas City Royals. And the Cardinals trying to make it an even 500 in the month of June. Can they even up the series? We're about to find out. The Cards, the Royals, and it comes your way next. Bud Light Lime. By Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by Chevrolet. Visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealer for great prices on the all-new 2016 Malibu. It is a gorgeous night here at the Gateway City. Celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Busch Stadium 3. Opened up back in 2006. And along with Al Raboski and Jim Hayes, I'm Dan McLaughlin. 78 degrees here at Busch. Alex Gordon will lead it off for the Kansas City Royals. Let's take a long look at their lineup with Merrifield, who scored the game-winning run last night, batting second. Then Kendrys Morales, last 5 games, 5 multi-hit games. Eric Hosmer, Salvador Perez, Christian Colon, his 3rd consecutive start. Alcides Escobar riding a 10-game hit streak. Terod Dyson, the speedster, with 12 stolen bases this year. And the pitcher batting 9th, that's Chris Young. Mike Leake, the right-hander, 5 and 5 this season. Last outing, he lasted just 3 1/3. His shortest outing as a Cardinal, he gave up 5 runs, 4 earned in that start against the Seattle Mariners.
Both these starters tonight. Chris Young also had his shortest outing of the year. So both of them like to atone for it. You know, actually Leake was throwing very well before that game. A lot of ground balls, but a lot of them found holes to go on through.
First pitch to Alex Gordon is taken for a strike. As Leake, his battery mate is Brian Pena, making his first start of the season. First time in the leadoff spot this year for Alex Gordon. He's been there plenty of times, 311 as a matter of fact. hitting 280 from the leadoff spot. This year, injury plagued, he's at 210. Down at the clubhouse, Brian Pena all smiles and so excited. Back healthy and finally making that elusive first start of the season. 1-2 pitch, and he struck him out. Good start for Leake. Monday pitch arsenal for Mike Leake. Assortment of pitches: fastball, the cutter, the change, slider, and the curve is a knuckle curve. Doesn't throw it very often, just 5.7% of the time.
Sometimes it seems like that cutter has betrayed him. He's given up a lot of home runs with that. Saw Yachty not in the lineup tonight, but you still can vote for him for the All-Star game. He's trailing, huh?
He's trailing. Off the glove of Peralta, who is playing in. Merrifield on his way to second base. The Cardinals committed 3 errors last night, and it cost them in that 9th inning. And Johnny Peralta, playing in, can't come up with this play.
You see, trying to backhand it, and it just bounces a little bit over him, but I think he had time to play that and square it up and still throw him out. But boy, early in the season, Mike Leake was victimized by a lot of infield errors and really cost him. He didn't throw particularly well either, but you can't do that, especially the way Morales is hit in this series. You don't want to put a man in scoring position for him.
Outfield is deep. Infield shades him to pull. Runner goes. Great jump. Throw down to third. That's into left field. Here comes a run to score. 2 errors in the first inning. 1-0 Kansas City. Wow. 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 You may see an awful lot of that against Brian Pena here tonight.
Yeah, at one time Brian Pena was a much better thrower, but last couple of years, and they got a scout report here. Of course, you saw how far off the line was Peralta, so he's a moving target. A high throw, error on Pena. You have a 1-0 lead.
3 errors last night. 2 already here in the first inning. As you talked about, as Leake got better this year, it coincided with better defense. In April, 5 starts, there were 6 errors. He struggled. May and June, 10 starts, 5 errors total. ERA 2 runs better. He's not going to strike out many. He puts the ball in play. You've got to catch and throw it. Here's the 0-2.
Cardinals errors are up to 61 now.
That is just ugly.
Compared to 41 for the Royals. Gives you an idea.
A little bit low and outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. This month he's hitting .386.
Yeah, just when you look at the series, 9 for 12. A little earlier start. Moss out in right field has to contend with more sun than anyone else. Even Wong has a little bit out in center field, but right field's the toughest one in these earlier starts by an hour.
Pulled foul. Collective groan here at the ballpark with this start. Looked to be 2 quick outs for Mike Leake. Instead, 2 errors and a 1-0 lead for Kansas City. 1-2 pitch in the dirt.
You know, Dan, obviously Mike Leake knows that his fielders are not trying to make errors and they're trying to do the best behind him. But it really is up to Mike Leake as the starting pitcher to kind of pitch around those mistakes, try to get it back dialed down, and have confidence that those ground balls will be gobbled up.
And the 3-2. Cardinals up to 61 errors. Cincinnati was 60. Let's get a look at Around the Horn presented by Dobbs. San Diego with 58, Phillies 57, Milwaukee 55. So the Cardinals are one team that's above 500 on that list with all those errors.
Keep on making them, you won't be over 500.
Second strikeout for Mike Leake.
Little slider.
And really tonight, the Cardinals need length in this game for Mike Leake. Segrist, Broxton, O, all have pitched on back-to-back nights. So you'd love to see Leake go deep in this game. 2 outs, nobody on, 1-0 Kansas City. The hitter is Eric Hosmer, batting .305. 12 home runs. He's driven in 48.
Cardinal pitching has done a nice job of keeping him contained in this series. He was 0 for 6 last night. He's 0 for his last 9.
0-2 pitch. Leake should be out of the inning. Instead, it's pitch number 19 here in the first. Upcoming to Hosmer. And he strikes out the side here in the first inning. But in striking out the side, he exits trailing 1-0. Who is 5th in all of baseball in on-base percentage at .418. This month he's at .480. He'll lead it off, followed by Colton Wong and then Matt Holliday. Brandon Moss will bat cleanup. Matt Adams, Johnny Peralta. Pena was a pinch hitter last night, flied out to right. Craig Garcia and the pitcher Mike Leake. Chris Young gave up a season-high 7 runs over 2 1/3 innings against Houston. He is winless on the road, 2-7 this year. As a matter of fact, on the road, he is yet to complete 6 full innings away from Kauffman Stadium.
And there again, he pitches very well in interleague play. So 6'10". I remember Albert Pujols hit a line drive right off his face, and he got a little gun shy after that, but he's kind of resurrected his career and multi-year contract from the Kansas City Royals after having a kind of a breakthrough year with Seattle.
And you watch him pitch, he's a big guy, 6'10". You're thinking, all right, he's going to throw mid to high 90s, nasty stuff. Far from it. Does not throw hard, but they talk about late life, great late movement when he's right. Hitters don't pick him up very easily. There's a look at his road mark, 0-5, 9.70 ERA away from Kauffman Stadium. Taken just a bit low by Matt Carpenter and a leadoff walk, and he's up to 54. Around the horn for Kansas City. Gordon, Dyson, Morales in the outfield, Colon, Escobar, Merrifield, and Hosmer along the infield. Salvador Perez is behind the plate.
It's one of the things that you need to do is be a little bit picky. Have patience at the plate, because Chris Young will walk you and everything. Trying to be nitpicking, trying to make those perfect pitches, falling behind a lot.
You mentioned that play that took place in San Diego as a member of the Padres. That was May 21st of 2008. One of the scariest incidents we've seen in years. That line drive that hit off his forehead actually had a fracture in his face, broken nose. Very, very scary.
Coming off the bat of Albert, it was a rocket too.
Signed with the Mets in 2011. Dealt with a bunch of injuries. He was with the Nationals, and the Mariners gave him a shot in 2014, and all of a sudden he was your bounce back player. But yet without a job at spring training prior to last season, and he turns out to be one of the most important signings that the Royals had, because he worked in their bullpen. He could be a swing man. He was in their rotation, did a little bit of everything, and anybody could have had him.
Actually, his numbers out of the bullpen are much better than starting, but because of their poor starting rotation, they're giving him shots there. He will battle you. You know, I mean, he's a professional and he's a competitor.
In the dirt to Colton Wong, and all of a sudden 3 balls 1 strike.
That's why I say you got to be very patient with him, because he will hit pitch from behind the count, and that's why he's given up so many home runs. Leads the
Staff high 21 of them.
Leads the major leagues with those 21 home runs, and he's allowed a home run in at least one in every start.
Back-to-back walks. The Hyundai pitch arsenal: fastball, it's around 90 to 92, slider, change, and a curve. So 21 home runs he's allowed, and the Cardinals come in tied with Colorado for the most hit in the National League at 104. So certainly that could play into this ball game tonight. The first 2 have reached, and a chance for Holiday to do some damage. Two on and nobody out here in the bottom of the first. Holiday looks at a strike. Lost last night. The Cardinals are now 15-22 at home with 25 wins on the road. And remember, they had the best home record in baseball with the Dodgers a year ago at 55-26. 0-1 pitch. Pop back and foul. Just below us.
Yeah, and the Royals are just the opposite of the Cardinals. They have the best record at home, and they've struggled on the road. Royals are just 14-25 on the road.
Here's the 0-2, and Holiday strikes out. So Young gets a strikeout here in the first. We turn to Al's Toyota keys to the game.
Well, you got the potential of long ball with both starting pitchers. Leake leads the Cardinals staff with 14 allowed, lead by far. And then I mentioned that Chris Young has allowed 21 home runs this year. That's the most of any pitcher in the major leagues. So you have the potential of that. But after watching last night's game, both these teams want some timely hitting. The Cardinals stranded 12 runners last night. How about the Royals stranded 19? The 5th time they've stranded 19 in the game. They've won 4 of those 5.
It's the manner in which the Cardinals have lost games at home too. The offense has been really silent in those games. They have dropped 6 straight at home. They've scored only 12 runs in those games. Well, they did have a pair of 7-game skids at home back in 1983, so it gives you an idea. It's been a really long time in which they have not had success here at home.
Dan, think about it. Every one of these games that we've lost at home in the last 2 homestands, there's been a quality start by the Cardinal pitcher.
Ball gets away. Perez to second and out. Wong is thrown out by Perez, and he shows off the arm.
Nothing going right. Here's the wild pitch. Gets by the best in the American League, and he gets the trail runner. Of course, Colton Wong, he really can't take off until he sees the lead man. And so he's going to be a little tardy, and Perez, much like Molina is, so aware of the premise of what's going on around him. He got the trail runner and nailed him in the second out.
So after 2 leadoff back-to-back walks, now the Cardinals dealing with 2 outs and a runner at third. And you let Young off the hook potentially here in the first inning. Matt Adams on deck, 3 balls, 1 strike. So again, a hitter's count here for Brandon Moss, who's sitting on 16 home runs. That puts him in the top 15 of the National League.
Brandon has 5 hits off of Chris Young, 5 for 19, but 4 of those 5 have been home runs.
And he looks at a ball inside. 3 first inning walks from Chris Young.
And yet he's 1 pitch from getting out of it.
$18 pitches, 12 have been balls. Matt Adams flying out on a 3-0 pitch to end the game last night. He's hitting .294. 9 home runs. He's driven in 34. That's a ball taken inside.
Hey, Byerlin, pitching coach, has done a nice job the last few years with the. I guess he'll take a lot of credit for the bullpen.
2-0, and Young can't find the strike zone right now.
Can't find the strike zone, but the Cardinals can't find home plate.
Let's see if Adams can't change that with 1 swing of the bat. The 2-0 pitch. Right down the middle, 2-1.
That was 0 for 6 last night, a frustrating night for him, and he's really struggled against the Royals in his career, a 194 batting average.
Popped up and out of play.
Lefties are hitting .367 off of Young with 14 of the 21 home runs.
The 2-2. Adams strikes out. The Cardinals get 3 walks in the first inning and do not score. 1-0 Kansas City. tonight. More on that. Let's check in with Jim.
Dan, when you have a bad bruise and get hit by a ball in the exact same spot, it's pretty awful. That, according to Stephen Piscotty, who had a rough one last night, fouled the ball off his left ankle in the 6th and got hit in the exact same spot in the 12th, sliding into a ball hit by Alcides Escobar. Piscotty told me the swelling was bad last night, but it's gone down considerably. He says the ankle's still sore, but he can play. Mike Matheny says Piscotty is available tonight. So is Aledmys Diaz, by the way, according to Matheny. The swelling around his right eye almost gone. Diaz told me his vision is back to normal, and Dan, he feels so good. No need to put on the catcher's gear just to sit in the dugout. He had borrowed that gear from Brian Pena, and as Aledmys put it, he was just trying to have a little fun, Dan.
This is Salvador Perez at the plate, and Jimmy, on that play by Stephen Piscotty last night, he was really in between as to whether or not to make the catch or to let that drop in, because he thought it could have been a foul ball.
Yeah, and he said he had been there in the minors where he laid out for a foul ball and the runner tagged. So he said he just wanted to get close to it. At the time, it looked like it was going foul. It caught him in the ankle, but he was not trying to catch it because the runner would have tagged and scored anyway, Dan.
All right, Jimmy, thanks. Who wants it? It'll be Pena who makes the catch. Took Pena a little bit to find that. There's the foul ball that Piscotty had off the foot, and then later in the game. Ouch. We saw him limp an awful lot after that.
Yeah, and you see, now we can really see how it does hit that left ankle. Trying to sell it that it was a foul ball, but it was really a good call by our crew chief, Mike Everett, who's behind the plate tonight. Went against the Cardinals, but it was the correct call.
Christian Colon. A lot of sliders early on here from Mike Leake.
You know, in his last game, he threw the most curveballs that he had thrown all season long and didn't have good results. Sometimes, you know, he gets beat by his cutter. He's got the great sinking fastball, but you need something much slower to kind of keep the hitters off that.
There's the fastball. 2-1 the count. Colon is hitting .294. No home runs, and he is driven in 4.
Cardinals have a staff of a lot of ground ball pitchers, but Mike Leake is really number 1.
There it is on cue. Ground ball to Garcia. 2 outs.
Now, and he's not going to strike out many, so he really does rely on his defense more than any of the other starters. And of course, he's been victimized more than the other guys also.
So 2 outs, and Alcides Escobar, 10-game hitting streak, .391 during the past 10 games, and 4 extra base hits. And he looks at a strike. Piscotty tied it up in the 10th. And the last time that the Royals gave up leads in both the 9th and 10th innings of a game, but won all the way back in 1977. It doesn't happen very often.
Well, and look at who they had to hit those score off of there. Those 2 comebackers. First, it's Wade Davis, who many people believe is. I've heard some people in Kansas City think he's better than Mariano Rivera. I won't go that far, but he is an elite, and you could make an argument he's as good as anybody in the game today. And then they, you know, with Soria, Joaquin Soria is a former closer and pitching well for the out of the bullpen. So how often does that happen, that Davis gets beat and then Soria gets beat and they win a game?
It's a breaking ball again from Leake, so we're seeing maybe a little pattern here that he's going to go to that more often, at least first time through in the lineup.
And it's interesting that Pena, who caught Mike Leake when in Cincinnati, I guess they worked 8 times together and had an ERA a little bit above 3. But Pena was signed is to give Yachty more rest this year. We haven't seen it so far, but Pena was just activated last night. Here he is making a start tonight.
1-2 pitch up the middle and past Matt Carpenter and into center field. First hit tonight for Kansas City. 2-out hit by Escobar. 11-game hit streak.
Well, Escobar sends this one right back up the middle, and Leak, a very good athlete, at least got out of the way of it. Coming right back at you. Sometimes you can see the ball and you can, you just can't react in times. Other times you don't really see it and you might even catch it just because your instincts, where your glove ends up.
Two outs and the speedster Dyson. First pitch is a strike.
And we'll see if Escobar wants to run two with 2 outs here.
Well, if you saw Pena in spring training, he was nursing a sore arm. You saw the first throw here tonight. Get the impression that Kansas City would be aggressive.
And Escobar has 10 steals and 14 attempts over at first base.
Here's the 0-1. There he goes. Good jump. Hesitation by Pena. Stolen base. Number 11.
Double clutched, and that's what cost him right there. But pretty strong throw. But when he didn't get the handle, watch him come back here and double clutches. And base stealer is going to make that every time.
Here's an 0-2 to Dyson. Infield back with 2 outs.
Dyson puts a lot of pressure on the infield because of his great speed. Ball kind of slipped out of Leak's hand right there. Pena wanted inside and went up and away, and then he was trying to wipe perspiration off his hand, on his leg.
The 2-2 popped up left side. Peralta, tough play off his glove. Run will score. Dyson on his way to second. 2-0 Kansas City. No one at third. There he is. They finally got him. That's Garcia. As Dyson trying to make it with his speed over third base, and he may be hurt. He's filling in for Kane, but he pops up. Drop ball that leads to another run, and the Kansas City Royals have a lead of 2-0 here at Busch Stadium.
Garcia getting in there, and very close play. They may challenge it. I guess they're not.
goes into foul territory, and then a heck of a play by Greg Garcia to realize that Dyson, with his speed, may try to extend this to third.
Might slow down both at first and second. Now he takes off, and it's a foot race between Garcia and Dyson. Great hustle by Garcia.
Sure was.
He caught that ball up against the side wall after it was deflected off of the glove. He scored a double. On a ball like that, you know, Holiday can't assume the infielder is going to make that play. Should have been a little closer and should have made that play.
Peralta on the first pitch pops it up to the right side. Hosmer, foul territory, and there's one away. Cardinals received, if you're just joining us, 3 walks in the bottom of the first, could not score. The first 2 men walked against Young, struck out Holiday, walked Moss, and then he got Adams. It was a ball that got away from Perez, in which 2 runners tried to advance, and he showed us why he's a Gold Glover with a strike to get Colton Wong trying to advance to second base. The always popular, always positive, smile on his face, happy Brian Pena dropping down a bunt and foul.
Brian Pena for a long time was a backup to Salvador Perez, and now he inherits that position with Molina. They say Pena's going to get more starts, maybe even 1 to 2 starts a week was the idea when he was signed to a 2-year contract. Give Yachty a little bit more rest, and I think Yachty needs that rest, but based on what we've seen right here, he's got to improve his throwing, or you can't play him a couple days a week.
In on his hands, and it's fouled back.
You agree?
Time will tell, but initially, sure. Watching in spring training with the sore arm, you didn't really know how well he was going to throw because you never really got the chance to see it.
Yeah.
Then he had the sore knee and then missed time with surgery. I think the other thing too, Al, is that he does give you more of an option off the bench. He's a guy that I think you would look at that as an upgrade offensively over Tony Cruz. Switch hitter, gives you some options there. May see him more in that role too.
Well, there were times in Cincinnati where you were impressed with his hitting. And he used to be able to catch and throw. Let's see if hopefully he still can. Like you say, he really gets into shape.
And a strikeout. That's the 3rd of the night for Chris Young. And that throw down to first to Hosmer. Missouri Lottery Fox Tracks as Pena chased that pitch. 0 for 2 on the young season for Brian Pena.
And Chris Young's horrible start his last time against Houston, he got 2 strikeouts, including his 1,000th strikeout of his career. He's turned 37 years of age last month.
Strike 1 on Greg Garcia, hitting .360, couple of home runs, and he has driven an 8. No balls and 2 strikes. In that first inning, you may look back and say that was the time that you could have gotten to Chris Young. You don't know. I mean, the Cardinals could go on a tear right here, but 3 walks in that first inning, you don't score. You don't see that very often at this level.
I think it's a good point because you walked 3 and you had your opportunities. Now all of a sudden he was pitching behind in the count that first inning. Now he's pitching ahead in the count. It's a big difference.
The 1-2. Ooh, just missed. The 2-2 pitch. Hit out of play.
Garcia had 8 assists. Career high 8 assists last night.
Chris Young is from Texas and attended Highland Park High School. As you might imagine, he also played basketball, and that's where Clayton Kershaw attended. Kershaw goes on the disabled list with a sore lower back today. Held on to by Perez, and 4 strikeouts for Young through 2 innings. We head to the third from Busch Stadium, and it's 2-0 Kansas City. St. Louis Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Jack's new triple bacon buttery jack today. Limited time only at participating restaurants. And by your local Volkswagen dealer. It's a live shot just outside the ballpark on Clark Street every Friday night like tomorrow. They get parties out there and live bands, music. Great place to take in the start of your night for that first pitch. And tomorrow we welcome in the Milwaukee Brewers to town. Here's the pitcher Chris Young against Mike Leake. 10 games left after tonight before the All-Star break. Cardinals face the Pirates and Brewers, and both those clubs are below 500.
Chris Young is first at bat this year, but it's 150 career hitter. That's over 200 at bats.
High chopper to short, gloved by Greg Garcia for the out. So first time through this lineup, and a rough start to say the least for St. Louis. That was following the air by Peralta, and then the stolen base attempts. They've had a couple. Then Johnny Peralta here in shallow left, foul, or rather fair territory, and then Garcia in foul territory. Made a nice play to get Dyson trying to go to third. Hit to second baseman Matt Carpenter. 2 down. Gordon is 0 for 2. Well, Leake has looked sharp despite the deficit of 2 runs.
Yeah, he's allowed 2 hits, but that's questionable on 1, and it's down 2-0, but should have a shutout going.
Brings in Whit Merrifield. Reached on the air by Peralta. Then the throwing error by Brian Pena. That led to a run. That was in the first. Kansas City added another in the second inning. Mentioned that Merrifield was a College World Series hero. Oregon State University had the game-winning hit, and Coastal Carolina wins their first ever Division I championship today.
Have you ever heard of that school prior to going into the...
Heard of it, but never knew that they could win a national title.
Absolutely. Great news.
There's a broken bat soft liner hit to Matt Adams. 3 up, 3 down. Lake leads it off when we come back, and it's 2-0 Kansas City. Anniversary of the 1926 World Series championship team. Tomorrow, 30,000 fans ages 16 and over take home a wearable replica 1926 championship ring. That's courtesy of Edward Jones. After the game, we've got fireworks presented by Cooper Tires, and it's all tomorrow night.
Hopefully Mike Leake can provide a little fireworks for these fans. Not getting much help behind him. He might have to do it himself. He's got 6 career home runs.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Leake. Came into play tonight, 5 for 25. No home runs and 1 RBI. A high strike to Leake. The 1-2. Chris Young went to Princeton. Will Venable, position player. Ross Ollendorf of the Reds. David Hale, Matt Bowman of the Cardinals. John Ryan Murphy, all Princeton graduates. As Leake swings and misses for the strikeout. So 5 strikeouts, first time through the lineup for Young.
3 walks and 5 strikeouts. Figure that.
BJC Healthcare difference maker this season. Extra base hits in the National League first. OPS #1. Slugging percentage 3rd. On base percentage at the start of play at .418. Second best in the senior circuit.
And you just hope he has a good night tonight and sews up the National League Player of the Month. You definitely have to be considered.
While at Princeton, Young wrote his thesis on the impact of Jackie Robinson in society and baseball. And he did that on minor league buses as he finished up his degree. 7 years after Jackie Robinson joined the Dodgers, the Cardinals signed Tom Alston. paid the Pacific Coast League San Diego franchise $100 grand and a total of 4 players to secure the rights to Alston. He was a huge guy. First baseman, 6'5", 265 pounds. Hit a home run in his first ever at bat in the big leagues with the Cardinals. But he had a lot of physical ailments, and many believe it was the mental anguish that he went through that led to some of the physical ailments that he had. And they believe that one tied into the other. And he was never really able to put it together. He's extremely talented, but went through an awful lot, as you can imagine, here in the big leagues.
Yeah, so, and just think of that. He did it 7 years after Jackie Robinson, the Cardinals, before they integrated. I knew the name. Tom Alston is the first African-American player to play for the Cardinals, but I didn't know much about it. So thank you for that history lesson.
You bet. I think more of our fans should know about him. You know, as you mentioned, the Cardinals were, as you said, 7 years after Jackie Robinson broke in. And it was at the urging at the time of Gussie Busch, who said, let's find a player and let's make sure we get him in our system and he's treated properly once he's here.
I think the amazing story about Gussie Busch.
Second walk by Carpenter.
1 year in spring training, Gussie Busch told 3 or 4 of the African-American players, you know, Bill White, Kurt Flood, maybe Gibby, and I don't think Lou was there. Lou wasn't there yet, but he said, I want you guys to meet me at the hotel at 7 o'clock. Mr. Busch, we can't go to the hotel. I said be there at 7 o'clock. And in between that conversation with Mr. Probstein, who was owned hotels here in St. Louis, he contracted and bought the hotel so the African-American players could start, could meet him that night, and then they eventually annexed a little motel next to it, and that's where the Cardinal players, wasn't that long ago, where everybody had to stay at the hotel.
That's right. We had our evening now with Red Schoendienst and Lou Brock last year, and Lou tells the story, but also Red confirmed it. It was Red, along with Stan the Man, that stood up when certain players said they did not want to play with African Americans, and they said, then you can leave. But these guys are our teammates. They're part of our team. High fly ball into right. That'll stay in the ballpark, backing up Morales. We saw Morales make that really good catch early on in Game 3 last night. That was actually the first time he had played right field since 2008.
Yeah, 2008. They said a lot of times in batting practice, and this was last night. Look at this drive. We were hoping it was going to get out. The DH playing right field for the first time, as Danny just said, since 2008, made a nice play. But Ned Yost says that, you know, I watch him in batting practice, and a lot of times he'll play the balls correctly during BP. He's an athlete. I'm not worried about him hurting us out there. Especially when they had the injury to Kane, lost their center fielder. Well, they moved Dyson over to center field tonight. Orlando sits, and Morales, who's hot as anybody, you know, gets a chance to play.
Little high to Holiday, and again Young falling behind. 2 balls, no strikes. It's back-to-back walks to start offensively for the Cardinals tonight. Holiday struck out, and also Adams in that first inning. Look from section 162 here at the ballpark. Phil Nichols operating that camera, and you'll find him all over the place tonight.
Not a bad seat in the house, and even across the street.
3-0 pitch, swinging away and fouled it back. Outfield is deep. They are straight away.
You know, 88, 89 mile an hour, four-seam fastballs, and then it looks like he gets you to chase breaking ball outside to the right-handed batters.
On the inside corner, Young is one of the tallest ever to play Major League Baseball, 6'10", the tallest ever. Former reliever, we saw him primarily with the Nationals, John Roush.
Yeah, a little bit with, I think, Arizona also, but he was 6'11".
6'11". On the 3-2, Carpenter running with 2 outs, and it's hit out of play.
Well, obviously, when you have somebody who's 6'10", 6'11", it's kind of easy to throw downhill.
Well, put it this way, you would hope.
Yes, you would hope. Kind of neutralize if you start throwing submarine or underhand.
3-2 pitch. Holiday, broken bat on a hop to Colon across the diamond. Nice play. Cardinals strand a runner. They have left 3 on thus far. We played 3 from Busch Stadium. 2-0 Kansas City. Sports Midwest is at Ballpark Village tonight, talking with fans about streaming games on Fox Sports Go. If you're a customer of a participating pay TV provider, you can stream our Cardinals telecast. Watch on your phone, your tablet, the Fox Sports Go app. Download the app for free. Visit foxsportsgo.com for more information. Well, Mike Leake so far has allowed just 2 base hits, and he has struck out 3 and trailing 2-0 in this game. He just joined us. The Cardinals committed a couple of errors in that first inning. Could be 3 here tonight, but 2 that were ruled for sure. That led to a couple of runs.
Struck out Morales the first inning. So that was impressive, the way he's been swinging the bat. And it's 1 earned run for Leake tonight, but he's pitched much better than that. And look at this.
Slapped the other way, down into the corner, in left, and dug out by Holiday. Cardinals can't figure Morales out right now.
No, he's had a phenomenal, I think that's his 10th hit in this series. He was 9 for 12, so 10 for 14 now. He's had 5 straight multi-hit games. The DH for the Royals, playing right field. And he's just doing everything offensively. Slow start, but boy, has he made up for it. Switch hitter and hitting extremely well from both sides now.
By the way, for fans that are wondering, we're talking about the first African-American player in Cardinals history, Tom Alston. He passed away in 1991. And he got a call before he passed away, but from Joe Garagiola. That's tapped foul, and Joe and Alston said he was floored. But Joe said, I hope you realize that you were one of the most significant baseball players to ever play in St. Louis. And we're both getting older, and I wanted to make sure that you knew that. And he called him out of the blue. Hadn't talked to him for 3 decades.
And you never know. Joe was one of those that was critical of black players. I doubt it, but that's pretty nice of him.
0-2 pitch. Little chopper. Carpenter fires it to first just to get Hosmer advancing on the play. Morales to third. Brings in the catcher Salvador Perez. Popped out into foul territory to Brian Pena. Infield will be brought in here in the top of the 4th, and the Cardinals down 2-0.
A little bit risky bringing the infield in. Morales doesn't run that well. And when you bring the infield in, you open up a lot of hitting lanes. Now the left side is backed up.
2 balls and no strikes.
Talked about how Leake is not a guy that strikes out a lot. He's going to hit. Most of the guys are going to hit the ball and on the ground.
We've had the chance to watch Perez play tonight included 3 of the 4 games, and just seems like how he gets better and better. He saw him in postseason play. He's a factor. Obviously hit above 350 in the postseason. Just a really good player.
Yeah, really definitely one of their clubhouse leaders too. And every time they win a ball game, it seemed like Perez is dumping the bucket of ice water on the star of the game, and when he's not it, he's that frequently. Big personality.
Popped up to the right side. Adams giving chase. This ball will drop, and it's a foul ball.
Maybe our luck has changed. That was going to drop. First couple innings, I would have dropped and been fair territory.
Sometimes you'll see Salvador Perez use that golf grip on the bat, interlocking the pinky and the forefinger.
Looks like he's got it there.
Doesn't do it always. Sometimes with 2 strikes he'll go to the traditional way to hold the bat, but he'll also put that right hand pinky at times, or excuse me, left below the knob, and he strikes out here. A little cutter.
That's helpful, getting this strikeout right here. And there you see the little movement right to the middle of the plate. His 3rd strikeout tonight. Now finish off the inning and strand a runner.
Ground ball that's hit to Carpenter. Good job by Leake with a man at third and only 1 out. Pitches out of that jam. We are midway through 4 from Busch Stadium. 2-0 Kansas City. Cardinals. Let's check in with Jim Hayes.
Dan, not that Brian Pena needs a reason to smile. He always smiles. But after a long rehab for a knee issue, he's playing in his second game and starting his first. Pena told me he's had to catch up a little bit on what Cardinal pitchers are throwing, but he says he's watched a lot of games on TV, studied a lot of video, and most importantly spent a bunch of time getting a crash course from Yadi. Pena told me he's got a good relationship with Leake. Brian caught 8 of Leake's starts when they were both with Cincinnati. Leake had a 3.14 ERA in those starts, held opposing batters to a 209 average in those starts. So Pena and Leake on the same page, Dan.
And I know that Brian Pena told you, Jimmy, he's feeling better and better each day with the knee and getting in better shape too.
Yeah, and he feels like his timing's coming along, and he thinks it won't be but a short amount of time before he's the Pena that the Cardinals signed, trying to get Yadi some rest. And John Mozeliak told me the other day that that is still the plan. They'd like to get Yadi a little bit more rest, Dan.
2 balls, 1 strike on Brandon Moss. Moss's first time up, he walked.
Like I said, he's also hit 4 home runs against Young, so hopefully he will be in there because of his long ball potential, his success against Young. And prior to this game, Young has really struggled against left-handed hitters. They've hit .367 against him with 14 home runs.
Here's a 3-1 pitch to Moss. Hammers this into deep right field. One of the longest ever from that side of the plate here at Busch Stadium. Holy smokes! He launches that baby. And the Cardinals get on the board. Number 17 by Moss. Man!
Well, like I said, we're going to probably see a home run tonight. Major League leading 22nd home runs served up by Chris Young. 5th time Moss has gotten them, and a happy dugout, and Carlos Martinez with the famous ice toss.
Wow.
Claymore, Oklahoma. Guys just came up, visited the booth. They brought us some success with this one. This is longer than his other one, isn't it? We'll have to find
I think
out.
that may be the longest we've ever seen here. The other one that he hit was a day game against the Phillies, and it went off the mercy sign down the right field line. This one did not catch that part of the stadium, and so it went long way.
Yeah, that was May the 5th, and it was registered at 462 feet. We'll see how it compares.
Popped up off the bat of Adams, giving Chase Perez out of play. Well, that guy right there, he's thinking, man, I got a pretty good seat.
Maybe we can pull out and just see how far he is.
You know, probably won't get a souvenir, but you know what? I'll have a good time. I'm here with some family, some friends. Wait a minute. I got a souvenir sitting here?
Well, you just saw that swing and just pretty follow through, and he's got that all automatic, so he's going to miss some, but.
And Adams sends one high in the air, deep right center field. It's at the wall, and it's caught by Dyson.
And over the Bank of America sign. Probably would have hit, not gone out, but
pretty close.
Still pretty close. You're absolutely right there.
And a strike to Johnny Peralta.
A lot of strikeouts and some pop-ups tonight. As she said, sometimes it's hard to center. 88, 89 with a 4-seamer, and then hold steady diet of sliders, low 80s.
Cardinals with 1 hit, and what a hit it was moments ago. Carpenter was just showing Brandon Moss a few moments ago exactly where that ball hit. Need binoculars down there to figure it out. That ball was crushed as Peralta breaks his bat, pulls it foul, the ground ball.
And this is the 15th game, the 13th start for Chris Young, and he's allowed a home run in every start this year, and 22 now on the season. Leake leads the Cardinals staff in home runs allowed at 14, and that's by quite a bit.
Well, you think about it, Al, for a guy that doesn't throw hard, and most of these hitters night in and night out facing a starter that's 92 to 94, 95, and you have a guy like Young that if he leaves the ball up, it's a BP fastball.
Well, that's it. I mean, he's almost somewhat throwing below the comfort zone of a major league hitter today. Decades ago, 88, 89 might have been the average of a fastball in the big leagues. Today, it's got to be what, 91, 92, something like that.
2-2 pitch, pop back and foul. So the hardest pitch has been 90, low of 82 for Chris Young.
Doesn't seem like much, but when you're used to hitting that 92, 93, then all of a sudden it does throw your timing off. And you see a guy, 6'10", you think and assume he's going to throw a lot harder. But you can see when he does center a ball and they got their timing, they go out of the ballpark.
Two, put in play to third. Again, Peralta breaks his bat for the second time in the at bat here in inning number 4. Power stats brought to you by Kubota. Duvall with 19 home runs against right-handed pitching. Brandon Moss now with 17. So all his home runs hit off of right-handers. The Nolan Arenado is 16. 7 players tied at 14. The early estimate we have from some of the reports is that's measured at 454 feet. Sometimes they change that too before the night is through.
A couple of years ago, home run was hit in the old stadium, Busch Stadium 2. A guy named Russ Booty caught the ball in like the second deck, first row, and he became an instant star. He got interviewed by Rich Gould, and Rich only interviews the best.
There's a walk to Pena. So that was the initial measurement, 454 feet. Cardinals still trying to figure out the distance. Take a look at StatCast as well, but they have an idea with the row and the seat how far it is. Then they look at miles per hour off the bat. They have a little formula, they'll put it through, and that's what comes up with that number. Here's Garcia, and he takes a ball. It's already 5 walks issued by Young tonight.
Like I said, back on May the 5th, his home run, which was described as the longest home run by a left-handed batter in Busch Stadium 3's history, was 462. So that's 8 feet further, but I thought this one was further than that.
This one had more of the arch to it, where the other one was just a screamer and a line drive that was still going up when it hit the mercy side. Anyway you want to look at it, Al, it's a bomb.
And we're on the scoreboard.
2-1 to count.
105th home run hit by Cardinals this season.
So currently they lead the National League.
So far, Young's walked 5, as you say, and none of them have come around to score.
Oddity in itself.
Yep, 3 in the first inning.
3-1 pitch to Garcia. Make that 6 walks tonight. You know, it's a situation where both bullpens were used a lot last couple of games. Certainly last night, Cardinals used up their entire bullpen, and both these managers are saying we need our starters to go at least 5 here tonight. Give us 6.
Well, they're going to the phone. I was noticing last night when we were looking at the stats that they did have some guys that hadn't pitched in a while. So they carry 8 relievers.
So 6 walks, 5 strikeouts, and 1 hit allowed. That's the line right now for Young. And Mike Leake at the plate.
Dylan G, we haven't seen him. Former Mets pitcher. Haven't seen him in this series, so relatively got to be a fresh arm.
The 0-1 pitch. Leake trying to bunt his way on, and Perez, an open field tackle on home plate umpire Mike Everett.
Was trying to get out of his way, and then Perez was stumbling. You always see that smile he's got, so that an infectious personality and a little smile from both of them. Goes up behind him. Now he turns around and runs right into the home plate umpire, and then
Andy Reid is saying, let's sign him up.
Dylan G pitched on the 24th, 3 innings, his last outing.
0-2 pitch. Can honestly say I don't think I've ever seen the catcher tackle the home plate umpire or any umpire for that matter.
I've seen a lot of catchers try to or want to.
In the dirt. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Pitch count already at 90 for Young.
Well, when you walk 6 guys, it's got to get up there. And then the 5 strikeouts on top of it.
Leake out in front and hits a fly ball out to shallow left. Brandon Moss with a long home run. We'll get the measurement shortly, but undoubtedly one of the longest home runs ever hit in this ballpark. Man, 2-1 Kansas City. including tonight, last 22 games, Chris Bryant, 9 home runs, 20 RBIs. Mets trying to avoid their 5th straight loss. They open up a season-long 11-game homestand tonight. Here's Alcides Escobar. Leak pitching into inning number 5. Escobar extending his hitting streak to 11 games with a base hit. Stole a base, run scored. Was back in the 2nd inning.
Leak's only allowed 3 hits in this ball game, 1 earned run. Really pitched well. And an unearned run in the 1st inning where he actually struck out the side, but a 2-base error allowed Muirfield to get to 2nd.
In the air, shallow right, and the catch made by Moss. Greater coverage of Major League Baseball is brought to you by T-Mobile as we look around the league. What's happening here tonight? Mentioned it earlier. Clayton Kershaw is out with a lower back issue. Took an epidural today, so he's going to be out until the break. Madison Bumgarner against Oakland. He'll start and hit for himself, so the Giants will not use the DH. And the Indians just keep rolling along.
Saw there that the Dodgers acquired Bud Norris. He pitched really well for Atlanta.
Seems like Atlanta right now is willing to trade anybody. They pretty much have.
But I mean, they're in a position where they're going to open up their new ballpark next year. So any prospects or any people they can get to help out, you know, you got to be in that position.
0-2 pitch. Usually you get a grace period, it seems like, Al. You know, maybe a year, year and a half, 2 years. You open up the new ballpark, good crowds. Fans want to see the new ballpark, and then at that point, they want to see winning baseball. Adams to Mike Leake. The Cardinals opened up this ballpark in 2006. They won a championship. First time a club had done that since 1923, when the Yankees opened up the stadium in the Bronx.
I knew it was the Yankees, but I didn't realize it was that far in between.
And then the Yankees in 2009, they opened up the next Yankee Stadium and won that year.
Renovations to the house that Ruth built. And Young's night is through. Ebner, we saw he was recalled yesterday when Kane was put on the disabled list. He'd just gone down over the weekend as he was called up. Initially made his major league debut when Gordon was put on the disabled list, and Dylan G will come in to pitch, but struck out last night. He's from the University of Arkansas. Went to school there.
1 ball, 1 strike. Let that pitch up, got away with it, fouled back at 89 miles an hour. Mike Leake in year 1 of a 5-year contract, coming over from the San Francisco Giants. Traded to San Francisco at the deadline last year from Cincinnati. Check swing. Did not go. You think about Leake, he doesn't have to be a number 1, but you do expect innings, and you expect him to take the ball every 5th day. They're looking at 190 to 210 innings this year. Not a good team. He fits in perfectly.
Remember a couple of years ago, I saw in the wintertime, I saw one of the Cardinal owners, and he was asking about a particular player, and as a free agent, and he kind of said, well, it's just money. You know, times have changed, haven't they?
Players, draft picks as opposed to money.
Right.
Adams there right by his own dugout, makes the catch. 1-2-3 inning for Mike Leake. Sends us to the bottom of inning number 5, and it's 2-1 Kansas City. Folks, it's the longest. This was back on May 5th. This is the ball that went off the mercy side in right field. And in the 4th inning tonight, it's measured at 477 feet. Longest home run ever at Busch Stadium 3. Prior to this one, the longest was Matt Holliday, 469. So a little history off the bat of Brandon Moss.
And I think when you saw there, both of them, you could tell the one off the mercy side and that one was further. Like we thought, Dylan G takes over. He was signed as a minor league free agent last December.
So Chevy called to the pen. The right-hander Dylan G. The 0-1 pitch. Hit out of play by Carpenter. Tough night for Chris Young again. 6 walks. He does strike out 5. Gives up only 1 hit, yet he's out in this game because of the walks in the bottom of the 5th.
And won't qualify for the victory. So this Carp prepare walks today. I don't know if he could get to stay in the man's on base percentage. You'd have to have a reach base every time and still may come up short for the month of June.
Shift is on here for Carpenter. On base twice with a pair of walks and a 2-2. Carpenter is now up to 55 walks to go along with 57 strikeouts. Playing every day, he'll get around 600 at bats. You finish walks above strikeouts, you've done something. That's pulled foul. So it makes him such a tough out. Great 2-strike hitter, can spray the ball, hits for power. Some teams want to shift against him, others do not. Three-two pitch again. And Carpenter strikes out. So Dylan G, and the first man that he sees tonight in relief of Young, picks up a strikeout. Hyundai pitch arsenal on Dylan G. Fastball only 48% of the time. He'll mix in the slider, a changeup, and the curve.
He's got 110 games, or 110 starts in the major leagues. All with the Mets. Last year he was all over the place. He had 14 starts with Bowman in Las Vegas.
Pitch taken low and outside by the center fielder tonight, Colton Wong. Haven't talked a lot about this transition for Wong from the infield to the outfield. It's been pretty seamless. He's played center, he's played left. We haven't seen him in right. Told us he's more comfortable in left field. In a brief stint in the minor leagues, has come back and has hit okay. The 1-1 pitch. Ground ball that's hit to second. Taken there by Merrifield. 2 outs. A reminder, a great way to take in baseball tonight or any night is with MLB.tv. Watch every out-of-market game live in high definition on over 400 supported devices. Includes a free subscription to @Pat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. 2 outs, nobody on, and here's Holiday. 0 for 2 tonight. He's grounded out and also struck out. Well, you go from a guy that is walking everybody, kind of slow, in Chris Young, to Dylan G, who is a very quick worker. And right now throwing strikes.
Mentioned
2-0.
110 starts in the major leagues. ERA just over 4. He was 40 and 37 during that time. Had some injuries the last few years.
2-1. Once the home plate umpire makes that call, cannot go down to first and ask whether or not he went around. It's been called. It's set. Now 2-2. Much slimmer Matt Holliday this year, down 20-25 pounds. Still though with 15 home runs. He's driven in 47. Just missed.
And those home runs have been coming the last couple months. You know, I think that's where he's always in great shape, but losing that extra weight, I think it'll really pay off in the second half.
3-2 pitch. Chops it towards third. Charging Colon. Nice play. Gets it out of the glove and out at first. Holiday flips the helmet in disgust. And a nice play here by Christian Colon down at third on the short hop. Took a little bit to get it out of the glove. He makes the play. We head to the 6th, and it's 2-1 Kansas City. Come together for the primetime event that will light up the summer. Major League Baseball All-Star Game from San Diego, July 12th, only on Fox. will be a celebration of Mr. Padre Tony Gwynn. Alex Gordon, the leadoff man for Kansas City. Generations of fans coming out. What is an institution here in St. Louis? That's baseball.
It is baseball. Grandfather, he taught the son, and the son now teaches his son.
Gordon lines it into left field for a base hit. His first hit. He's been held in check in this series. He's 1 for 3 tonight.
Just came off the disabled list on Saturday with that broken wrist he sustained earlier in the collision with Moustakas.
I know that you're asked about it all the time, Al, wherever we go in town. Why do the Cardinals struggle at home? What's going on with this team at home? And it's just hard to put your finger on it, although you say the pitching has not been as good at home as opposed to the road. And then unfortunately for the Cardinals, you have to look at the defense too.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it was obvious the pitching wasn't good early, but the last 2 homestands, they've been outstanding. The starting staff's been very good. Had some struggles with the bullpen. Defense plays a big part of that too.
Merrifield pops it up. Adams giving chase near the stands and out of room.
They're scoring roughly 2 runs more per game on the road, and then you got to look at their record in 1-run games. It's not very good at all. So you take a couple runs away and can't win the close ones. Translates into a 15-22 home record.
When some of those out in the bullpen start to stretch, you usually see that around the 5th or 6th inning.
But that's something I think we all took for granted, that we were going to get the good pitching, starting and relieving, and that we would have a tremendous home record like we have in the past.
See if the Royals want to be aggressive here. They have been when they've had base runners on. They've only had 4 hits. Leake has not walked anybody. When they've got a man on, they've put runners in motion against Brian Pena. That's Gordon at first with 3 steals. And it hits Gordon. Adams couldn't come up with it. And it puts another Royal in scoring position. Could make a case the Cardinals could have 3 errors tonight. They have 2.
Oh, you got to get an error here.
Yep.
Error on Leake. Like last night, committed a 2-base throwing error. Allowed the runner go from first to third. Came around to score a go-ahead run. I could make a case that they could have 4 errors.
Ground ball, that would have been your double play. Garcia only played to Adams as Gordon advances to third. On a 4-game series against the Cardinals, the most hits against St. Louis in 4 games or a 3-game series. Billy Southworth had 11 back in 1922. Pat Mears 10. You may remember that. He went on a tear back in 1999 with Pittsburgh. And Kendrys Morales looking for his 11th hit in this series. Infield is drawn in with 1 out and a runner at third. The Royals had this spot.
This month he is over 390 now.
They had this spot in the 4th inning, could not score a run. Runner at third. Less than 2 outs. Leake pitched out of that jam with a strikeout and a ground out.
Came in batting .449 in his career against St. Louis.
Hammers this down the right field line. 11 hits in the series for Morales. On his way to second base with a double. He has destroyed the Cardinals the last 4 nights.
6 straight games he's had multi-hits. His 38th RBI. Got off to a very slow start, but boy, he has heated up June has been incredible for him, and doesn't matter if he's right-handed or left-handed, he's swinging the bat very well. Since June 1st, he's hitting over 400 against right-handed pitching.
The second air charge to Leake this season comes back to haunt him. What would have been a double play put a man in scoring position. Ground ball advanced to third. Morales brought him in, and it's 3-1 Kansas City. Cardinals with 2 errors in the first. That led to a run. One-0 pitch to Eric Hosmer with a runner at second base.
Just a bit inside.
You could make a case that it should be just a 1-1 game right now.
Right there with that 1 run.
You could make a case it should be 1-0 Cardinals. You know, you had the 2 errors in the first. You had the ball off the glove of Peralta in the second inning. That led to a run. Now Leake's miscue at first base, putting a man in scoring position. It's led to all 3. The poor defense. That's in the dirt, and a walk to Hosmer. First walk issued by Mike Leake. Runners at first and second. Brings in Salvador Perez.
Perez is fouled out to the catcher and struck out. Looking. Came in batting .370 against the Cardinals. That's through his career in interleague play.
Needs that double play. He may get it here. Garcia to Carpenter. Couldn't get it out of the glove, and still out at first. Perez not hustling down the line potentially. Certainly have to wonder about that, as Carpenter couldn't get it out of the glove and still able to turn 2. As we went to a timeout, Ned Yost decided to challenge whether or not Perez was safe at first base. He is. Both teams went in the dugouts. And Mike Matheny, I think, is going to go ballistic here. It's supposed to be within 30 seconds, the manager coming out whether or not to make the challenge. Both teams were off the field.
We saw the replay going to break. We knew that he was safe. But as you said, both teams were in the dugout.
I don't blame Mike Matheny for being upset one bit.
No, and maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing for him to have a good old-fashioned argument right here and hopefully spear his team up a little bit. They need something.
We both said during the break he's going to get tossed. We both thought that the runner was safe.
And this is what I miss in baseball.
So David Bell, the bench coach, takes over. The bobble by Carpenter, and Perez not hustling down the line, but still able to beat it out. Then both teams go to the dugout. Was Perez hustling? Let's take a look. No. But he gets away with it. So runners at first and third with 2 outs. And again, I can't blame Mike. I mean, that decision by Ned Yost or whomever that manager is has to be made for the betterment of the game too, to move it along.
And I just think it's also Mike's watching his team play tonight, you know, has led to a little bit of that boiling up.
Extends the inning to Christian Colon.
And hopefully it'll wake his team up a little bit. David Bell will take over.
Most managers, though, on a play like that, go to the top step. They whistle at the umpire and say, hold on, keep the players on the field. We're going to take a look at this.
No doubt.
And they didn't do that.
I don't know where it'd be on the 30-second clock, but 30 seconds a long time. But you're right. Normally there's at least some indication that it may be going to be challenged, and so players stay on the field. They don't get in the dugouts like that, both teams.
Everybody off the field. Here's a 1-1 pitch to Colon. And I agree with you, Al. It's maybe not the worst thing that Mike Matheny gets ejected. We've seen at times where that seems to be a rallying point for a team, and maybe that happens tonight. So 2 outs and 2 on, and a 2-1 pitch to Christian Colon. Sends a fly ball out to right, and there is Moss, and no replay needed now. We're midway through 6 at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. The Royals tack on a run, and it's 3-1 Kansas City. St. Louis Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light. Raise 1-2 right now. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. There's a look at the Cardinals Hall of Fame and Museum. And every Saturday night over at the Cardinals Hall of Fame, former player will sign autographs before our first pitch. And this weekend, Rick Ankiel. Just head to Cardinals.com to learn more about that. Here's Moss. And there is strike one. Brandon Moss, if you're just joining us, hit the longest home run ever here at Busch Stadium 3. 477 feet. That home run was back in the fourth off of Chris Young. Only lasted 4 innings.
Big gap out in left center. Let's take a look at that home run again in the fourth.
Number 17 for Moss, no doubt about it. He's now driven in 39. He also has a walk here tonight. That fan back there had no intention of getting a souvenir and got one this evening. Pulls it foul.
There's the gentleman right there. The longest one by a left-handed hitter was hit by Moss on May the 5th. That went off the mercy sign on the second deck, but that gentleman is way back. Go the set of bleachers that are behind the Cardinal bullpen.
Well, this is why Mike Matheny is upset, and he's right. You're supposed to be given 10 seconds immediately after the call to make the motion as to whether or not you want to challenge. On top of that, you have another 20 seconds. But the manager hops out of the dugout within 10 seconds of the call to notify the crew chief we're looking at it.
Well, he definitely didn't do that.
And then you have the 30 seconds to take a look at it with your video regroup and make that call.
We both said, you know, when it came out after the fact, we said we wonder if they will allow it because we knew he was safe, but because the time had elapsed.
A swing and a miss by Moss. Our understanding is that Ned Yost did not hop out of the dugout for 32 seconds, then did not talk to the umpire for 42 seconds. So if you're looking at the rule book, he missed his opportunity to do so.
Well, think about it. As a right fielder, how long does it take him to get all the way in the dugout? Morales did. So it was definitely, as you said, 42 seconds.
Matheny's 12th ejection as manager. First this year. He's been ejected 14 times in his career. 0-1 the count on Matt Adams. Dylan G has come in and pumping strikes. Had a scoreless fifth, and now 0-2 the count on Adams, who was struck out and also flied out to center.
Said Morales wouldn't have got in. It was Holiday wouldn't have got in because the Cardinals were in the field. You know, Dan, it's kind of my theory too that with replay, when you're working the bases, you have no chance to get an argument, because if there's something that's disputed, it goes to New York. They make the decision.
The only thing I can think of from Ned Yost's perspective is that it's a close play, and maybe he's taking for granted that the umpires, after all this time now, are accustomed to having a manager come out and say, look, we're going to take a look at it, hold on, which he never did.
No,
he never made that motion. But that's the only thing I can think of as to why Ned Yost didn't make that motion initially.
I think it was somebody got his attention, maybe from their video guy, called them and said, hey, he's safe there. But I was going to say, you know, you have no arguments in the bases when you're an umpire on the bases. So 1 out of 4 games, you're going to get an argument.
And Peralta sends a high fly ball into deep right center field. This ball is gone off the top of the wall. The second home run hit by the Cardinals tonight. The first by Moss. This one, number 3 off the bat of Johnny Peralta. And it's 3-2 Kansas City.
Johnny really needed that. He's been struggling. He struggled that whole road trip, but he did hit a home run in Chicago. He's been struggling these first 2 games here, so this gives him something right in the middle of the plate. It's right on a tee for him, and just had enough to sneak over and on top of the wall and into the bleachers.
And Pena looks at a low strike.
But like I said, you know, the only time you're going to get an argument today is when you're the umpire at home plate.
Pena puts it in play. It's softly too short. Escobar, the Gold Glover from a year ago, puts him away. The Cardinals again have pulled to within one. A solo home run, Johnny Peralta. This one, number 3, his 10th RBI into right center off the top of the wall. And it's 3-2 Royals. Johnny Peralta. International soccer returning to St. Louis. Don't miss Liverpool FC as they take on AS Roma. That'll be August 1st here at Busch Stadium. Tickets are on sale now. Just head to cardinals.com/soccer to purchase tickets. August 1st, Liverpool against Roma at Busch Stadium. Peralta's home run has cut the lead to 3-2, and here's Alcides Escobar. 7, 8, and 9 in the lineup for the Kansas City Royals, with the pitcher that is due up third in this inning. Dylan G, 2 scoreless innings of work on the mound. Luke Hochevar begins to throw in the Kansas City pen.
Very important inning here for Leake to get out here quickly, get his team back on offense before you get into that Royals bullpen.
Escobar had the go-ahead RBI initially for the Royals. Cardinals came back twice in the game last night. Then he picked up the game-winning RBI in that 3-2 win. And he pulls it to third. Nice play by Peralta across the diamond. The stretch and pick by Matt Adams.
Nice play at both ends.
I'm with you. I miss the old good-fashioned, umpire, manager, face-to-face, screaming, getting after each other.
Spitting tobacco juice in umpire's face just by accident.
I miss it.
I do too. I do too. I always thought the umpires try to do the best job they can. You know, they're human. I would never really want to, you know, you're at the stage where you could do it electronically. But that would take so much away.
Dyson drops down a bunt, and it rolls foul and touched in foul territory by Peralta.
How quick Leake is he's right over there at the foul line fielding that ball too.
Saw last night Dyson bunting in a situation in which there was not a pinch hitter on deck for the pitcher. Didn't make a lot of sense. He's in the 8th spot in the lineup. You can understand though in this particular spot he would do it. Pinch hitter on deck. That bat waits for him, come back, and a count of 1 ball and 1 strike.
You know, sometimes today's players only think of themselves. Don't think of that. You know, got a pitcher coming up, which is foreign to them in the American League to swing the bat. But here you got a position player. You got a guy that's been playing quite a bit lately too.
Cuthbert is on deck. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Dyson. Mike Leake has allowed just 5 hits tonight. But again, the Cardinals defense, some miscues, and it has cost them in a big way, leading to all 3 runs.
3 errors on the board, potentially 1 more. Also,
ground ball that's hit to second, taken there by Carpenter for the out.
And bobble by Carpenter. They don't get the double play. Leake's had to throw quite a few pitches more because of all the errors and extended innings.
So 2 outs and nobody on. Chesler, Cuthbert will be the pinch hitter. Hochevar will come in and pitch the bottom of the 7th for Kansas City. As we've talked about the last 3 nights, their bullpen is loaded. Cuthbert, a couple of starts in this series at third base.
The black
and the 0-1. Good work by Mike Leake here tonight. The fly ball into right. He's at 101 pitches. His night may be through. His spot is coming up. Time to stretch at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Cardinals player hits a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Our score is Kansas City 3, St. Louis 2 here in the bottom of the 7th. Night is through for Mike Leake and also for Dylan G. Jed Jerko moved to the on-deck circle. Luke Hochevar pitched in last night's ball game. Our Chevy called to the pen. The former #1 overall pick struggled as a starter and has been outstanding as a reliever for Kansas City in this dominant pen. Garcia, then Jerko and Carpenter. First pitch taken low and inside. Gray tonight has walked and he's also struck out. Big gap in right center field. Hochevar, a power arm. Say the same thing with Wade Davis, Kelvin Herrera, Soria, hard thrower.
Kind of set the tone for so many clubs now to have 3 guys at the back end. just can overpower you. Doesn't matter if you're left or right.
You start this game, the Cardinals facing Chris Young, who topped out at 90 miles an hour, and then these hard throwers at the back end of games. The 2-1 pitch to Garcia. 3-1. Cardinals received 6 walks issued by the starter Young in 4 innings.
6 walks, and not one of them came around to score. That's a rarity.
3-1 pitch. Section 454 high atop the ballpark. That look down to Hochevar and Garcia. Count is full, and the next. Six is a serious number and on the run. Cardinals score 6. Any size drink just 50 cents the next day. Coffee fountain, frozen drinks. When they score, you pour at your nearest on the run. You earned it. Big gap in right center field for Garcia. And the 3-2 inside and to the backstop, and the Cardinals have received 7 walks tonight.
Hochevar has pitched very well on the road. He's got a 1.23 ERA. Opponents are batting 163 against him in 15 road appearances this season, compared to his 4.70 ERA in 17 outings at home.
Over the weekend at Seattle, Jed Jerko Sunday afternoon. The home run proved to be the game-winning RBI. He has 7 this year. The Cardinals with 10 pinch hit home runs. So the night is through for Mike Leake, as he allowed 3 runs on 5 hits. The Cardinals have just 2 hits tonight, and both have been home runs. Brandon Moss, 477 feet back in the 4th inning. And that man right there, third baseman Johnny Peralta, a solo shot in the 6th. Cardinals trying to make it 24 consecutive winning months, or at least at 500. Which a win tonight would assure them a 500 month of June. That dates back to July of 2012. This day and age of baseball, that is just an incredible run of winning baseball.
Consistency. That's how you've gone to the postseason 5 straight years. Looking for 6.
The 1-1 pitch. So 23, the active streak right now currently in baseball, owned by the Cardinals. Cubs at 9, Rangers at 5. That's a minimum of 15 games inside that month that you play baseball in. 2-1 pitch. Did not go. 3-1. Boy, there's a lot of room to the right side as they hold Garcia and they play Jerko to pull. And with a hard thrower, you can see Jed just taking that ball to right.
Yeah. Got the count in his favor.
The 3-1 pitch. Lost the bat. 3-2.
Thing for the extra screen. Loses the grip. Cardinals did have a low screen around that area, but now it's extended to the top of the backstop screen. No pie shape over the protecting the fans over the dugout, but more down the sides. Go all the way to the dugout now.
The 3-2 pitch. Garcia, your runner at first base. Not running. And it's hit out of play. Our crowd tonight, 44,802. A sellout 4-4, 8-0-2.
Great crowd as usual.
Three-two pitch again to Jerko. And he got him. Hochevar comes back to strike out Jed Jerko, and we're back to the top of the lineup. Plaza Tire Fox Tracks. Pretty nasty pitch on 3-2.
Well, Dan, think about that. All those pitches were all the way, and you had your scenario that you were talking about. The right side of the field was completely open. To swing as wildly as he was on that, you're never thinking about trying to take the ball the opposite field.
Tyler Lyons throwing in the Cardinals pen. Here's Carpenter with a pair of walks and a strikeout. Walked in his first two plate appearances against Young. G came in inning number 5 and struck him out. He did nice work out of the pen. Carpenter's such a good batting eye.
Cardinals only have 2 hits. The home runs have been the offense for the Cardinals tonight.
And the 2-0 pitch to Carpenter. On its way. 2-1. Colton Wong is on deck. Kansas City after the game will fly out to Philadelphia. They'll play there tomorrow night. The Cardinals welcome in Milwaukee, Jaime Garcia and Matt Garza tomorrow. Crowd trying to make some noise in a 2-1 pitch. Carpenter with a fly ball. That's into right center. Backing up Dyson on the track to make the catch. Garcia tagging up from first to second. And the tying run in scoring position.
Well, Garcia and Cole Wong both went to University of Hawaii, and we met a young lady, Casey Swindle. She was going to school at the University of Hawaii the same time these two were playing there. I used to watch them there, and she said that she made her way from Hawaii to watch the club in Seattle, then came down here, and she wants to say home hi to her lovely husband Ryan back in Hawaii. Poor guy. They say they never miss a game. They watch the games all the time, rooting for their Colton Wong and Garcia along with all the Cardinal players.
Wong hitting just 132 with runners in scoring position. Tying run at second base. The go-ahead run at the plate. First pitch to Wong from Hochevar. Instead of check on Garcia.
How about Hawaii is becoming a favorite place? We got to say hello to Jay Smith again. He never misses a game in Hawaii.
Breaking ball and a strike.
Knuckle curveball. Hochevar possesses.
Here's the 0-1 pitch to Wong. Base hit could tie it. And a fly ball lifted into center. Dyson. He's there. The Cardinals strand a runner. St. Louis has stranded 6 tonight. Hochevar does the work here in the 7th inning. 3-2 Kansas City. Lions. He was terrific 2 appearances ago, and now working and edging closer to more of the high leverage situations, and this would certainly be one of them. Game the Cardinals really need, and it's 3-2 Kansas City, 1-run lead late here in the top of the 8th, and the Cardinals turn it over to Lions.
It seemed like he was a lost man down there in the bullpen, and then had a long extended outing out of the pen in Seattle. Now we're seeing more of him on a frequent basis. Of course, he's only the second left-hander down there. Kepler was sent down, and so he's kind of assumed the long man and that role.
Top of the lineup here for Kansas City. The Marlins, by the way, have lost 6 of 8 against Atlanta this year. Against the rest of baseball, they're 39-31. St. Louis a half game out of the wild card. They are tied with the Mets, the Dodgers, and Miami, the 2 teams right now that would be in. A couple of good breaking balls to make it 0-2, and that's what he's got. One of the better curveballs in baseball.
Yeah, and so effective against righties and lefties.
And a ground ball that's hit towards second, taken there by Carpenter. 1 away. It's back, Cardinals fans, the refreshing taste of the frozen strawberry lemonade. It's available all summer long, and it's only at McDonald's. Cardinals will have Holiday, Moss, and Adams coming up. Looking ahead to the bottom of this 8th inning. Whit Merrifield has been all over the place in this series. Shows bunt, looks at a strike, and that's what we were told about this young player for Kansas City. He can play all around the infield, outfield if need be, hit anywhere in the lineup. But the bottom line is he's produced.
Yeah, high energy guy. Really looks like he's going to be a good ball player.
Late with that swing and that late movement break by Lions. 0-2.
Maybe never be a star per se, but a guy that in his own clubhouse is so well respected because of how he comes to play. Prepared to play every day and all over the field, as you said.
Ripped foul. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. One ball and 2 strikes. The next from Tyler. Popped up to the right side. Adams will give it a look, and it's out of play. Kansas City with a right-hander throwing in their pen. No activity for St. Louis. Kelvin Herrera. Saw him last night. Popped up again and out of play. It's been such an odd game for the Cardinals, and the fact that you have Mike Leake pitched wonderfully here tonight. 7 innings, 5 hits, but the Cardinals have been charged with 3 errors. That's led to 3 runs. Could have been 4 errors. The starter for the Royals goes 4 innings. He walks 6. The Cardinals don't score. They have 2 hits tonight, and both have been home runs. And on top of all that, David Bell is now the manager of the Cardinals, at least for the time being, as Mike Matheny was ejected. And it was odd because Ned Yost wanted to challenge a play, but took too long to make that decision. But the rule was not enforced, and so play was overturned. Mike was upset. He got ejected. The 1-2 pitch to Merrifield. Struck him out.
battle there, but finally Tyler gets him on the breaking ball. It's 6 straight games. Morales has had a multi-hit game. 3 hits last night, 2 more tonight, a pair of doubles.
And 11 hits in the series for the switch hitter. Normally serves as the DH for Kansas City here in the National League Park. Kept that bat in the lineup. He's played first base primarily, but with Hosmer a fixture there. Went to right, made his first start since 2008 in right field last night. Made a good play too. 1 ball, 1 strike.
He hasn't hit a home run in this series, but he was going for it with that swing. And that usually works to the pitcher's favor.
Curveball and a beauty. Rosenthal getting loose in the Cardinals' pen.
Backdoors the breaking ball, gave up on it, and then breaks to the right on the corner.
And the 1-2 pitch to Morales. Hammers it down the left field line. And goodbye. Up into Big Mac land. An absolute rope hit by Kendrys Morales. 11th home run. 12th hit in this series. And the Cardinals cannot get this man out. It's 4-2 Kansas City.
And you want to see why you've got to be very careful late in the game if you're trying to throw an inside fastball. If you miss inside. If you miss out over the plate, it's just like this. What a bomb that was. Line drive that goes up into Big Mac land and carries right back down on the field. 12 hits. That's a new record, right?
That's right.
His teammates even got it through out of that one.
Hopefully nobody's hurt up in Big Mac land. That was still rising, and an absolute laser shot off the bat of Kendrys Morales to make it 4-2 Kansas City.
Lions has thrown 17 pitches, only 3 outside of the strike zone.
1-1 pitch to Hosmer. Breaking ball and hit out of play.
Got to be careful late in the game trying to pitch inside. Got to get further in.
One-two pitch and lined into left field. Not a bad pitch, but Hosmer almost a check swing and picks up a base hit.
And he's been what, 0 for 11. He had a walk last time, but 0 for 11 at that first hit. That's only his 2nd hit in the 4-game series.
Two outs, runner at first. That ball gets through Brian Pena. It's another quality start here in the month of June, and the Cardinals 9-8 with all those quality starts, 17 of them. Combined in April and May, 27.
Early in the season, I think we had 21 games where we scored 8 runs or more. That's why you had 16 wins out of a few quality starts early in the year, but then all of a sudden now the pitching's so much better and the offense has been sluggish.
1-0 pitch, fouled back. Miles per hour. That baseball hit off the bat of Morales, measured at 111.8.
Get up in the over 110, really get over 100 hitting the ball for hard, but very few can get it up into the into the teens.
1 ball, 1 strike with a runner at second base. That ball gets away from Pena. It'll be the second wild pitch charged to Tyler Lyons. Just has not been sharp tonight. Not just Lyons with the 2 wild pitches, but from the get-go, the errors in the first, drop of a pop-up, Mike Leake's throw to first base.
Just so uncharacteristic for the Cardinals. Keep on harping on it, but to win 55 games last year here at home, and the environment is just so perfect to keep you motivated and keep you up, and yet it hasn't translated in victories for the Cardinals. Visiting teams also thrive in this environment too.
Again, you know, you hate to harp on it, but the Cardinals could be and probably should be leading this game 2-1. Instead, they trail 4-2. Pulled foul off the third base coach. It's not quite Tommy Lasorda being knocked down in the All-Star game in Seattle and doing a backflip. Got it right off the foot.
When you jump, you got to lift both feet. The vertical jump there, went right foot went 4 inches. The left foot went a foot.
2 balls and 2 strikes, and it's a strikeout for Tyler Lyons. Perez is tagged out. Morales, the home run, extends the lead to 4-2. Kansas City on top of St. Louis here in Game 4. AT&T high-speed replays. Moss, 477 feet. Longest home run ever hit at this ballpark. And then it was Peralta into right center off the top of the wall, and he picked up his 3rd of the year. So Chevy called to the pen. Morales, by the way, we talked about the 12 hits in the 4 games. He's now 25 for 53 against the Cardinals in his career. That's a .472 average. 6th highest against the Cardinals all time. The highest, lefty O'Dowd and Rogers Hornsby at .506 against St. Louis. Orlando takes over in right field. And here is Holiday, the lead of 4-2. Fastball and a strike from Herrera. We saw him hit 98, 99 consistently last night.
He pitched a scoreless inning last night, just walked the leadoff man, but he hasn't allowed a hit to a right-handed batter since June the 6th. They're 0 for 16. And on the year, just batting 143 against him overall.
Holiday, couple of ground outs and a strikeout. Part of this lineup for St. Louis. Tied him up 1-2.
Yeah, they've been able to not only get inside, but up and in. Ball up there. He's a low ball hitter. You just see how awkward that swing is, tying him up.
And the 1-2 pitch. Struck him out at 98 on the gun. Arcia in the driver's seat as Moss digs in. The Cardinals at 106 home runs. This is updated after a big night in Washington. They have 107. Cardinals 2 ahead of Colorado and Chicago. 1 out, nobody on. Rosenthal, scoreless inning in 2 of the games against Kansas City this week.
About last night, the first 2 batters, he looked like vintage Rosenthal.
One ball, 1 strike. A shift is put on here for Brandon Moss. And the outfield very deep. Blueprint for a lot of teams has been looking at the Kansas City Royals last 2 years. Their starters give them the fewest innings, the bullpen the most. They feel they can get a starter through 5 with a lead. They're going to win.
Worked pretty well for him.
Off the end of the bat and a foul ball, and it's 2-2.
Dan, I think you go back to what, 1913 when we first saw Carlos Martinez and Seegers, you know, and then there was Rosenthal, and they're all coming out of the bullpen, and everybody thought that was wow. Everybody throws 96 and above. But now all of a sudden you look around and just about every club has 2, if not 3, really hard throwers at the back end of the bullpen.
And a strikeout of Moss. Next time you want to grab Cardinal seats, get the StubHub app. Not only will you find seats you'll love whenever you want, you can find the best seat for your buck when you sort by the best value. So get the StubHub app today. Really, if you want to take it even further back, not as hard in terms of the throwers, but the 2011 Cardinals revamped their bullpen for that stretch run, and members of Chinsky and Rhodes and Dotel, they came in, and a lot of matchups for Tony La Russa to use with expanded rosters, and it benefited them greatly down the stretch. 2 balls, no strikes on Adams. Adams hits it a mile into shallow right. About as high a fly ball you'll see off his bat. Orlando put it away. We head to the 9th, and it's 4-2 Kansas City. This is our Chevy call to the pen. Trevor Rosenthal is in for the Cardinals. The Indians win their 13th straight. Ties a franchise record set back in 1942 and again in 51. They beat Toronto 4-1. Fifth longest winning streak in the major league since 2000. The longest, you may remember, back in 2002, Oakland A's. They won 20. Losses over and out of room. Atlanta in 2000 won 15 in a row, along with the 2001 Seattle Mariners. And up next, the Atlanta Braves of 2013 that won 14 straight. Rosenthal in non-save situations, the numbers aren't pretty. 10 innings, ERA of 9.90. Trying to get him right. Pitch ahead in the count, throw strikes. The 0-1 pitch. Talked about it a lot the last couple of times he's been in. Many times in his appearances this year, he falls behind. He gets into hitters' counts. Well, when he needs to throw that strike, he goes to the fastball, and he's getting beat a lot on that pitch.
You know, it's high octane, 98 usually. You know, it's got to be coming in straight. And the fact that, you know, hitters are seeing that type of velocity a lot now. And if it's not moving or not sinking, you know, it's going to be hit. And you also was throwing it down the middle of the plate instead of a corner.
2-1 is tapped foul. 2-2. First plate appearance for Orlando. Comes in hitting .337. Does not qualify for the league leaders in batting average. Does not have enough at bats. Need to average 3.1 a game. Or just over 500. 504 at bats for the season. Garcia has to hurry. Bare hands and made the play. Tremendous play, Greg Garcia.
Greg had a career high 8 assists last night. And very, very busy, but we're seeing more and more good play by him. The more he comes in here, he knows the speed of Orlando, and so he couldn't put it in the glove and make the exchange. Orlando from Brazil, really kind of a soccer player, and they was originally signed, I think, by the White Sox. But he was always had great speed, good outfielder. Now he's become a pretty good player.
Well, that's a shortstop that knows the speed of the hitter and realizing he's in between hops a little bit. If he gloves it, no chance to get him. Only chance was to barehand, and he comes up with a beauty. 1 ball, 1 strike on Alcides Escobar, the shortstop for Kansas City. Reminder, this Sunday, Ice Cream Sunday. Free North Star ice cream treats in the Ford Plaza while supplies last. Cardinals take on the Milwaukee Brewers. And on Sunday, it's Michael Wacha and Chase Anderson. Tomorrow night, Garcia and Matt Garza. Saturday, Adam Wainwright and Jimmy Nelson.
Trailing 4-2. They only have 2 hits. It's tough to win when you have more errors than hits.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Escobar. Big gap in left center. Ground ball slowly hit. Carpenter is there. 2 away. Let's hope slowly but surely this gains more confidence as we go along here with Trevor Rosenthal. Certainly not a blowout either way in this game. Still close. 2 runs. It was a tight game last night. He came in and got a scoreless inning. The one before that was a sizable lead for the Cardinals. Idea was to get him in the non-high leverage situations. But if the Cardinals are going to go anywhere this year, whether he's closing or setup man, he's got to be right.
And right now, when you think about it, I think we're a little shocked the last 2 nights. He was given a chance in the 9th. They've both been shaky.
Peralta makes the play. And that'll send us to the bottom of the 9th. The Cardinals trailing 4-2. Out of the afternoon. Call third strike, 3 strikeouts in a row, and that's 5, 8, 10 strikeouts. That's a career high with number 11. Call third strike number 12. It is lucky number 13. Complete game shutout. 1 hitter, Jaime Garcia. We'll see him tomorrow night. Gets the call for the Cardinals. Our Budweiser What's on Tap, Matt Garza. Jaime Garcia. Coverage begins at 6:30 with the distance on that Thursday afternoon against Milwaukee, and he'll face the Brewers tomorrow night back home here at Busch Stadium. Wade Davis into the ball game, the closer for the Royals. Cardinals got to him yesterday. He has only 2 blown saves last night, and 1 that was the middle of last season, and 2 in the last 2 years.
And he, despite blowing the save last night, he still has a 1.15 ERA in his last 16 outings.
And the 1-0 pitch. And Peralta is homered tonight. 1-1 the count.
Davis is tied for 5th in the American League with 18 saves, but he hasn't recorded one since June the 13th. And since 2014, Wade Davis leads all Major League relievers with 18 wins, an ERA of 1.02. Opponents average 152.
The check swing, and he did go.
Doesn't allow many home runs since 14.
Well, part of the issue recently has been his lack of work. I just wonder if that was part of the issue too with Rosenthal. Not a lot of save opportunities in the first month and a half or so. It was hit and miss when he was out there, where if you look in the last 2 years, it was time and again he was out there. Base hit into center, Johnny Peralta. And the tying run will come to the plate.
Johnny now is 6 for 18 when facing Wade Davis. There you see a hanging breaking ball, and he just took it down up central. So last 2 at bats, a home run, and now a solid base hit up the middle to give the Cardinals a chance here in the 9th.
Switch inning, Brian Pena. First start of the season tonight. Short lead at first by Peralta. Ground ball hit to the right side. Out at second. That's all they'll get. Let's see if the Cardinals want a pinch run for Pena. You'd have to think that they would. Kendrys Morales, 12 hits in the series, and tonight our Budweiser player of the game. Hit a home run up into Big Mac land, 3 for 4, a couple of RBIs. He goes 12 for 16 in this series. Tommy Pham, by the way, will pinch run for Brian Pena. There's one down.
And what did you think about? I was thinking about pinch hitting for him.
Thought about it too. Here's Greg Garcia. Seems to have that flair for the dramatic at times late in games.
Lefties are batting 182 against Davis. 163 for right-handed hitters. How dominant he's been.
Huge gap in right center field. 1-0 pitch to Greg Garcia. 2 balls and no strikes. Molina has moved to the on-deck circle. Still would have Aledmys Diaz and Stephen Piscotty potentially to hit in this game. Two and one.
Garcia was trying to sell that inside pitch. Hit the strike zone.
Cardinals trying to come back against one of the game's best again here tonight. The 2-1. 2-2.
Cardinal Nation realizes that there's potential that Yachty could be left off that all-star team if he doesn't win the vote.
Two pitch. Struck him out. Cardinals down to their final out. Boy, this is nasty right here.
Slider and backdoor it.
As Al mentioned, you can vote up until midnight tonight. Molina at last check trailing Buster Posey of the All-Star vote.
Wouldn't this be the time for his first career walk-off home run?
Runner goes, and the pitch is driven into right center field. There is Dyson, and Kansas City takes 3 of 4 against the St. Louis Cardinals.
Frustrating game for the Cardinals. Sloppy defense. 2 days in a row they've committed 3 errors in a game, and it's very hard to win that way, especially tonight. 3 errors and just 2 hits.
The 2 hits, home runs. Moss, the longest home run in this ballpark, and also Johnny Peralta with an opposite field shot. The Royals take 2 here in St. Louis, and Kansas City takes 3 of 4 in the I-70 series. The world champions. They showed us why in these 2 nights with that stellar bullpen, the back end of games. Kansas City won game 1, Cardinals game 2, and the Royals take games 3 and 4. Vote for Yachty up until midnight tonight. Post game next.